Hello everybody, today's video is brought to you by Asstasticjedi, one of my lovely patrons who has redeemed their monthly video for Golgari fights. In best of one, of course. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take their list, I'm going to play it a few times, and I'll make changes as we go on. I'll probably play like 3-4 matches before I make any changes just to get a grasp of the deck. And then we'll see if I have anything in mind that can make the deck quote-unquote better as I see it. And if not, we'll keep playing it. So yeah, this deck is really interesting. It was a deck that I did want to test in best of one since Phyrexian Obliterator, joined the fray in standard. But a deck that really suffers because of the mana base. I do think, I don't know, you can't really play a forest, right? But that I'm not going to touch it for now. But yeah, this is a really rough mana base for a deck that mostly wants to play, a card on 4 that is 4 black, but I do think the power level is completely absurd of Phyrexian Obliterator fight against most decks in the current standard best of one meta. I don't think they will be able to survive a fight from Phyrexian Obliterator. Like, they will just have to sacrifice every single permanent they control essentially. So yeah, basically this card, trample 5/5. Whenever a source deals damage to Obliterator, that source is permanent. That source's controller sacrifices that many permanents, including lands, of course. And the goal is just to slap it on 4 and fight with a creature on your opponent's side, which deals damage to both creatures, potentially killing your own Obliterator. And then they sacrifice the amount of permanents equal to the opposing creature's damage, or the damage taken by Obliterator. So it's really interesting. And I don't know if I would call it fun for your opponents, but it's definitely fun for you. Now, of course, there's a lot of other like fantastic black spells in this deck, like Cut Down. We've got Sleeper on 1, which is going to be super good with this mana base. We've got Underdog as a little bit of recursion and a good 2-drop to say the least. Misery Shadow, which is going to be a card that you can easily pump for that extra bit of damage. Very threatening attacker because your opponent has to respect the amount of times you can pump. So essentially, you attack with this before you spend your mana, and you play on second main phase. Essentially, you go to attackers first, and then you attack. You probably get 2 damage in because they can't block, because otherwise you can pump. And then you play your 3-drop or whatever else you want to follow up with. And that's just fantastic. Of course, we've got Invoke because it's Invoke. Why would you not play it? We've got Phyrexian Arena for a little bit of grindiness, like a little bit of a push towards more of a mid-game match potentially if you can't get the win too early. And it helps also for finding your mana, and of course finding your fight spells, and especially your green sources. It's mostly about, I think, finding your green sources with the Phyrexian Arena, trying to get a little bit of extra cards to guarantee that. Otherwise, you can always just, kill your opponent by attacking with a 5/5. That's also something you can do. But yeah, I don't really have much to comment on with this list. I'm just going to play it and see how it does. So let's just jump into it. Oh my goodness. Okay, interesting hand. It's so slow though, but it has green, which is quite good, and I have multiple ways to top deck into a playable spell in the draw, so I'm gonna keep this. I do think I'm like a few first impressions, I guess, on this list specifically. Oh, this is rough. Unfortunately, it's mono red. But oh my goodness, a few things I'm seeing about this list that I don't think Invoke Despair is necessarily a card you'd want. I think this deck has enough going for it from the creature side of things that it might not need 3 copies at least, but we'll see. Okay, that's unlucky. So I've top decked 2 5-drops, which is kind of what I was scared of. So that is just unfortunate. Yeah, hitting mono red, and I've top decked a 4-drop. Okay, well, honestly, pretty unlucky. We have many draws there that are just good. But that was not one of them. Those 3 in a row were probably the worst case. And hitting mono red, of course, which it could have been mono white. It could have been anything a little bit slower, and maybe I would have been fine there. All right, we've got a green source. We've got 3 lands, 2 Obliterators, and a fight spell. This is looking way better already. But yeah, the gamble did not pay off in the last game, but it is what it is. Sometimes you get blown out by mono red on the play. I think the odds of me losing just from being on the draw anyways are high. I just realized I should have... Okay, do we grab a land? Yeah, probably. I just realized I should not have played that on turn 1. Of course, there was Gliss on top, which would have been one of my best draws in this situation. Alright, that's gotta go. Lower their damage by quite a bit. I think that's relevant. Another land is not what the doctor ordered. But actually, it's not bad, because if they do manage to deal with my first Obliterator, then they will just play into my second one. And right now, we do not really care. Actually, soldiers can be a problem for Obliterator. Just starting to realize that. The reason for that is this Siege Veteran, they can stack other soldiers and get 1/1s from them. That would be annoying. Okay. Ideally, they'd have to protect this, no? Okay, well. Alright. That's okay. I will be going for the fight this turn. Fighting the Siege Veteran, so they can't get any tokens. I'm sure the frontliner is leaving in 2 lands, probably. Since I have a go for the throat for this Qatar, I'm seeing a few things that I obviously like in this deck. I do think the Obliterator can be really brutal in some matchups. If they have another Qatar, we are kind of screwed, but it looks like that's not the case. Sleeper is a really good card in this deck. Very, very good card. Oh my goodness. Now that is what I call a draw. That is what I call a cut down. Oh, we have 2 5/5s. Oh yeah, it looks like being on the play is pretty good with this deck. Like most decks in standard best of 1. At least we got our first win here. Soldiers does seem to be a pretty decent matchup. Like, they just can't really... I don't think they have the amount of removal to deal with the Obliterator, especially since we're playing removal for the Qatars. It's got to be pretty tough for them. Although, if we don't find a fight spell, they might be able to get a wide enough board state where they can win with Harbin. So that could be a problem. Alright, I'll play 2 more, and then I will make the changes that I'm thinking about right now. I will go over those after we finish those games. One card that I'm thinking of is Phyrexian Obliterator, which I think could be... not Phyrexian... Flesh Gorger. I think Flesh Gorger is a card that should be in consideration, as it allows you to stabilize on the draw and gain that little bit of life as well. Or just more Trespassers, I feel like. I don't think Invoke is necessary as a 3-of. I think it should probably just be a 1-of, because most of the time you're going to be stable or dead too early in the match, I think, for that to be relevant. Yeah, I will just sacrifice that immediately. Interesting. Mono white artifacts. Is that... I know Best of 1 has a wild variety of decks, so I'm not sure if that's something I should be surprised of, or if that's just... That's just Best of 1 for you. What is this? Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield, it gets +1/+1. That's pretty interesting. Very good racing tool. Oh my goodness. Okay, I did not think about that card. Whoopsie. But I will get it back. Do I get it back this turn? Yeah, probably. Field Red is such a strong card. Okay, Glissa, yeah, this is... Yeah, just fight the Glissa, play the Sleeper. Or fight to get my Glissa back, and then get the Sleeper in play. Good mana here. Oh, I have to let my dog in. Give me a sec. Okay, Steel Seraph. That actually makes a lot of sense. Bushwhacker. Bushwhacker is okay. Let's go for the triple attack. I'll probably end up playing Arena here. But I do want to draw a card. That's decent. Okay, I might not play Arena after all. Oh, I should have pumped that. Are we bushwhacking? I think we are. I need this Steel Seraph to leave the battlefield. And am I dealing with this or am I playing Arena? I think I need to deal with this. Lifelink is frustrating to deal with. And I will be pumping that, I guess. I will just give them the turn back. That's an artifact. I'm so... It looked like it wasn't an artifact. I guess I'm pumping this twice then. Honestly, I don't really want to play Arena in this case then. Of course, everything's an artifact. What am I thinking? Jeez, this is a problem. Holy. Go for the throat. Completely useless against their deck. Should have known. But that really did not look like it would be okay. Either way, we have to... I don't know what to do here. All I know is this Shield Red is going to have to carry very hard. That or I need a fight spell on a land. Okay, yeah. Again, Invoke Despair, I do not think is the best in... but it might be decent actually in this spot if I top deck a land. But man, these are... Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, we're just... Okay, yeah. That was just unfortunate actually. I ended up drawing kind of bad removal overall. And these just ended up taking over the game. But at least we got to see a cool deck maybe. Pretty interesting. Pretty unfortunate. A little bit too clunky, I think, in terms of CMC and curve in general. Like it's very difficult to contend with other aggro decks when they're going to be on the play if we're playing cards like Invoke Despair. But let's play one more. Then I'll make my changes. Yeah, having a go for the throat for the artifact creatures pretty unfortunate. I felt like I would have won that. I felt like I should have won that game. But I didn't. Maybe... Wait, they were on the play, right? I think they were on the play. That might have just decided it, because I was not able to curve out Shield Red fast enough. Okay, decent hand, but... Yeah, again, I don't necessarily know if Invoke is necessary in this deck. At least not as a 3 of. If I draw multiple, I just feel pretty bad about this. Okay, this is a good situation. The Edict really pulling its weight here. Arena into Shield Red is going to be interesting, I guess. Toxic Double Spike. I'll probably just deal with that instead. Make sure they don't have any creatures to start the Toxic train. I don't know if this is a good or a bad matchup. I feel like it's bad because they have protection and I can't fight. Okay, now I really need a land, otherwise this is useless. Please. Hit me with that land. Hit me with that land. Oh no. If that dies, we are just out of the game. Maybe not actually. I can hit the land, I guess. Okay, that's fine. So no... Yeah, no... Okay, that's good. Okay. Decent situation. Arena into Invoke, potentially. Gonna be an interesting situation. Well, there you have it, people. Phyrexian Arena plus Shield Red. Some of you wanted to see this in action, and I guess you're gonna be able to see it here. I'm very thankful for no combat trick, so it's a pretty decent situation. Alright, still no combat trick. And Annex Sentry just being very useless in this matchup. Well, not very useless, but relatively useless. Would I kill this? Not necessarily, no. I don't even think I want to invoke, but we'll see what happens. Okay, no, I definitely want to invoke. Alright. Okay, okay. Well, invoke is good if they're doing nothing. Nothing of value. That's good. Actually, the entire deck is good if they're doing nothing. Just like most best of 1 decks. Found another invoke, which is interesting. Continue holding on blocks, probably. I could attack there, but I don't think there's a reason to. I have the invoke for the guaranteed 4 anyways. To make sure they can't like somehow poison something. Alright, let's make a few changes here. I do think basically the gist of it is that I think this deck is pretty bad on the draw. And essentially the entire deck right now as it stands is pretty much only good on the play. Due to cards like Phyrexian Arena and Invoke. So I think we have to somewhat change that. We have to streamline that a little bit to make sure we don't get steamrolled. So I do think, unfortunately, Arena is going to have to go for something that can generate card advantage, but is also a good blocker. And that would probably have to be Glissa. Most likely 3 or 4. Let's see. Probably... Actually, Glissa is difficult. 12. Yeah, actually, I forgot this mana base is a little bit rough for Glissa. I mean, 12 is about right. But 4 of these are tapped, so you'd have to hit them earlier. So actually, I don't know if I'm that high on Glissa. Also, -1 invoke at least, I think, is completely necessary. Go for the throat. 3 cut down. I like 3 cut down. I'm thinking of just adding Trespassers instead of Arena, because it gives you more proactive plays. I would play more Glissa if we were able to cast it reliably. Let's see, card draw. Card draw, card draw, card draw. Ooh, Shakedown Heavy is kind of interesting. That'd be a fat attacker. And yeah, if they don't let it attack, I would get the card. Is that interesting? Mostly we're looking for 3 drops and 2 drops, essentially. Obviously, I don't want a red. What is this doing here? 3 drops and 2 drops. In terms of card draw, there's not that much selection, I believe. Yeah, there's not that much of a choice. Oh, Celestis is kind of interesting. Adding the mana for Invoke. You have mana for cut down in Sleeper. This is interesting. I'm considering that. I'll leave it in for now. I'm so sad the Go for Throat was so useless against the other player that was playing Artifacts. Graveyard Trespasser. I really want another Glissa. What's the math around Glissa? I think it's okay to play 3. Like having the card advantage baked into that, I think is pretty relevant. So mono red is going to be something to consider. So it's probably just another Trespasser. Is Trespasser better than Phyrexian the Flesh Gorger? Because again, I was considering that, but Flesh Gorger. Wait, what? Oh yeah, I'm not in the... Okay, yeah. I was like, it's a 3 drop. No, it's a 7 drop. Okay. Flesh Gorger, Trespasser. So both have their benefits. I think this deck is more of a card advantage matchup. So I do think Trespasser makes a little bit more sense. Essentially. Also, this tapping for green and being able to go Phyrexian fight on 4 is pretty interesting to me. I'm not 100% certain about the underdog. I do like the sleeper. I think this might just be better as more interaction. Or at least one more piece of removal. Flesh Gorger. I don't know. This card is so good though. And so is another Shield Red. But I think it has to be more early game to not lose the board as quickly. as we've been losing it. Let's see. So destroy effects. It could be another cut down. It could be another cut down. I don't really know what else we can play that makes sense. In green, there's absolutely nothing anyway, so it's mostly going to be in black. There's the -4/-4 for 2, but that's not instant. But does that actually matter? Maybe not. Instant speed. I think another cut down kind of makes sense. It's really good against mono red, and I think mono red could be a problem. I do think mono red could be a problem. And that would be our best way of combating that. There was also a player playing Life of Toshiro. I remember that player. Let's see. Okay. -1, -1. What gets hit by that? So soldiers, it's okay against soldiers. But cut down is also just good against soldiers. Spend this mana to cast sorcery in instance. I don't know. I think it's cut down. Cut down. Is there any matchup where I would not be happy about cut down? Mono white, I guess. Maybe it's just another go for the throat, because why not? Sure. Yeah, just this looks much better on the draw already. Maybe I cut the Galissa for Trespasser. Maybe I cut the Underdog for another Galissa. I don't think Underdog is that strong, although it is a 2-drop. I'm never escaping this, I think, ever. So it's mostly it's just there as a 2-drop. Which I guess is not the worst thing ever. But having a better 3-drop, I feel like is a little bit more appealing to me. Or even just Misery Shadow instead of Trespasser. Instead of Underdog, I mean. Should be better against mono white. I'm gonna run another Shadow. Okay, this looks fine to me. I don't necessarily know if we need a Gix's command as well, but now that we have a little bit more ramp, a little bit, and then better early game, we can probably reach the point where we cast a Gix's command. So that does not make me sad at all. Alright, I like this. Now that I think about it, another copy of Cut Down does make sense, right? Because I completely forgot about the Evolved Sleeper being like super good with Cut Down, like really insane with Cut Down. Yeah, I might honestly cut another Invoke. Like I can see myself, imagine top taking an Invoke in this spot on the draw. Like it's always, the problem is always on the draw. On the draw, it just feels, it doesn't feel good enough. It's very good on the play, obviously, but I think this deck on the play is already naturally good. Like I don't know if you necessarily need that kind of an effect to pull ahead. It does feel a little bit win more, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And this looks like a terrible matchup. Just a straight up control deck. In this matchup, you would want more invokes and the Underdog, I guess. All right. Sure, yeah, it's just a pure control deck. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a big problem. Leading in with Glissa or leading in with Trespasser? Both are interesting options. Glissa is not connecting, so actually I should just go with Trespasser. Which would punish a flip, so if they go to Knight, I would get the 4/4. Wonder, oh, it's just Dimir. It might just be straight up Dimir. Oh no, it's not, because they cast a white spell. They just don't have double white, which is their main... the main way they interact with things is with double white. The problem against control is that you have to figure out when you have to commit, and I do think I have to commit pretty hard here because they don't have double white. So I think I'm going to cast the Obliterator just to be annoying. The Obliterator is not a very good card in this matchup at all. Maybe even you could say this is one of the worst cards in this matchup, but no, 4 mana 5/5 vanilla essentially. It's honestly not like super terrible. It's okay. It's just way worse than having like a Trespasser or something. Even Iglissa. Just for the mana cost, just having a vanilla creature is not very good against control. But there shouldn't be that much control in the meta, I'd hope. But this is definitely a rough time for this deck specifically. Especially without Underdog. But even with Underdog, I mean, if I had it in hand, it would be good, obviously, but... yeah, maybe I'll consider swapping the Shadow back for Underdog. Sweep here. I mean, I need to keep committing, that's the problem. I actually need to keep committing to this board state. And I think the way I do that is just play another Shadow. I want to keep this flipped. They need a sweeper, they probably have it. Yeah, the problem is facing a control deck on the draw, when I'm on the draw, is probably like 0% win rate. Realistically. I just don't really see a way out of this. I have to keep committing. They just keep doing nothing and drawing more cards, and then eventually they sweep me. I'm not dealing any damage. What I need is enough lands to potentially sleeper plus draw. This is going to be a long match, I think. Unless I concede, which I might, honestly. Pretty soon. We'll see. I can't... I have to keep committing, I think. They would have swept there, right? I mean, in that case, I just missed a bunch of damage if I'm not going to commit. 1, 2, 3. White Sun's Twilight, I lose, but I think I would lose to that either way. Like, there's no way I'm beating White Sun's Twilight in this position. I just have to keep going. I'm so far away. Like, there's no point in pumping this. Like, I just lose either way to Sweeper. I don't have the mana efficiency to come back on the board anyways. They would just have a bunch of removal spells in hand, potentially. Okay, so no Sweeper. So that was correct. To just force their hand a little bit more. I can't... Essentially, when you're playing against control on the draw, you will not be able to play on Sweeper. Unless you're close to killing them. I'm certainly not. With the amount of chump blockers they've been generating, they've gained so much life. And the 4 HP twice from the Sunset Revelry. This kind of deck is just too creature mid-rangey to beat control. Especially with the cards that I cut. Oh my goodness. Okay, well they can't kill both, so get to save one here. That's not terrible. Now their deck is a little bit weird. And I found interaction. Pretty good. I think I trade my Trespasser for the Bankbuster at this point. They have so much life gain, it's ridiculous. Between the Sunset Revelry, the Archangel, everything. Too much. Too much to deal with. It's probably sleeper time. Let's draw. No, it's not sleeper time. I need to guarantee that I get the draw off this, which means I need to be on 7. I need to commit a better creature. Yeah, unfortunately we don't have enough shield reds either. But yeah, this deck is definitely not made to beat control decks, so there's not much you can do. Like there's really nothing you can do unless you're playing 4. I guess you would have to have 4 invokes, like 3 or 4 underdog probably, and then you're maybe in a decent spot. Okay, so Glissa's dying. That's expected. And Glissa's dying in the worst way possible. Another land for next turn. Sleeper can maybe bring me back into this.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and I will protect my people. I am almost sad to see you go.
Are control decks like running around everywhere? That's a question, right? That is a question. If control decks are running around everywhere in best of 1, then having the Phyrexian arena as well would help for sure. Well, not against this build, but actually no, it would not. It would not really help because they don't really care if you draw cards. They're drawing more efficiently, and they also have cards like Farewell. So yeah, tough one. All right, Sleeper, you're up. Your turn. Draw me a bunch of spells, but again, they don't really care about what I'm drawing. In the end. At least I don't think they are. At least I don't think they care, but we'll see. My own Celestis? I don't know, at this point we just have to draw and draw and draw and draw. Okay. Well, that's not bad. Because in this case, I can just get rid of the Wandering Emperor. If they have another one, I think I can't win the game anyways. Like, you can't play around anything. When you're playing around against control and your deck is bad against control, just ignore everything. Like, you just have to play single player. And if they have the answers, they have the answers. Within reason, of course. If you're winning by a lot, of course, don't overcommit into Sweeper, but that's unlikely. Alright, we have the Sleeper. Is Sleeper gonna just run away with the game? Maybe, maybe not. Find out. We do have copies of Invoke, we do have that, which is gonna be useful. That's why I held onto the Sleeper for so long. That this card can dominate the game, and you're seeing it here potentially. Okay. Hold. Hold. Hold on. Oh, it's over. Okay, they found Deluge. Yeah, Celestis actually helping them quite a bit, gaining that life, getting further into their deck, and trying to find answers for the Sleeper that has already drawn a lot of cards and dealt 8 damage, but with all the life gain they have, that is pretty irrelevant. And they also have more Wandering Emperors coming as well. And we have not really found much of value here. Going for the attack. And I don't think they have anything, so... Okay, wait a minute. Sleeper? What? Why are you so... This is our only good card against control. So 11, and then I have 12 here. I might as well play this. It doesn't flip tonight. Okay. Good luck to me, I guess. Good luck, good luck. Dissipate, sure. Well, they used their Dissipate, so that's one less card that can interact with the... Okay. They need Wandering Emperor now, and they have to cast it now. They need exactly Wandering Emperor to gain life. Otherwise, they're dead, I think. Actually, I only have one creature in the graveyard, so they're not that dead. Depop is not enough. Okay. Oh no, it is enough. No, it's not. It's not. Wait, it is. Wait, not. Wait. No, it is. One life and it flips. Yeah. I have no way of doing this other than playing everything I have and hoping that. What do I take? I definitely take Trespasser, right? Like if they're sweeping, I can grab Trespasser again. Yeah, if they sweep me, I'll just Trespasser again. So I want to keep Evolved Sleeper in the graveyard because that can find me more damage potentially. Yeah, these tail swipes are relatively useless. They need another sweeper. And possibly counter magic as well. The Celeste is carrying the game. I know from playing Celestis myself in control decks that sometimes that is the best card in your entire deck. And in this case, you can clearly see that that's the case. It is definitely the best card in their entire deck. It has saved the game. Pretty much. Guaranteed. Well, I guess not guaranteed, but they have to gain some life here. Fielder is very good. So Wandering Emperor would gain life, but also tap them out, and they would go back down anyways. So they have to respond with Wandering Emperor. And then I have Shield Red.
Feel the energy of battle.
So they need another answer.
You are not much of a roadblock.
But they also have that. I have to keep this for grabbing Shield Red again. Now they also have an answer. Okay, this game's over. Celestis just carried the entire thing. That's unfortunate. Really close one though. Very close. But they had every answer possible with pretty much no counterplay from me. I guess they're not out of the woods just yet. Seven mana is leaving them with 2. And there's no real point in taking a creature since I'm grabbing both anyways. I might as well open with this and try to bait them into... Yeah, I won't give them info basically. I'm not going to give them info. I'll force them to use the deluge first or counter. Okay, good. And now that they use the counter, they don't have counter for this, which was my plan. Bait the counter out. Now they need another counter spell, which they probably don't have at this point. With a 4 counter spell. Oh, never mind, they do. Okay, well, that sucks. This game is over. A close one though. If I had the tools that I cut, I would have been fine in this matchup. Oh, I still have an invoke. All right. If I had a creature, I would have been able to lead the way a little bit. But at least we're drawing a card, potentially another sleeper. That's whatever. I will put an underdog back in the deck just for control matchups. I'm definitely not adding another invoke though. At least underdog is a cheap way to hedge your bets against control. I might even play 2 and just cut a Misery Shadows just straight up. Alright. They don't have a creature. Otherwise I would be able to pump.
Become subdued.
Edict is alright. No point in attacking. I have to Edict now. It's actually, now that I think about it, it's funny that I cut most of my control tools and I immediately face a control deck. That's unfortunate. I mean, not all of them, but I added Celestis, which is fantastic against control. It would have allowed me to get rid of these, but they, they countered my Celestis, so it's unfortunate. Now they're just gaining a bunch of life. Eventually I just lose to Jace. This is kind of a waste of time, but I'll play it out. Maybe they're dead here. Probably not, but who knows. They've used a lot of counter magic already. Nope, they are playing 3 negates and 3 dissipates, which is not a good thing in best of 1, but it works here. I don't really know why you would play negate in best of 1 when people are playing mono red, soldiers, mono black. But yeah, it is what it is. I just hit like the worst possible matchup, I guess. This is why this is where I feel the tilt a little bit. Like, I don't know why they're running 3 negates, but they are. I was 1 off. I can't believe it. 1 off, and Celestis just soloed the entire game from that point on. They don't have another Jace. I guess I can win, but okay, my graveyard's gone. I don't have many ways of using the graveyard anyways. Oh, never mind. I take it back. That's actually so funny that they get me with that. On the exact turn where I top deck possibly the card that could have saved the entire game. Alright, we've got 2 Sleeper left, which is our best card in the matchup, and we have not seen enough of it. 1 Misery Shadow, which is our... So we have 3 creatures left in the deck. Until I concede. And that is not one of them. They're... Okay, but what do they have left? That's the better question. What is left in their deck? That was not a terrible draw. Okay, that's gonna kill me. That is certainly gonna kill me.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa. May your blade strike true. We've got the edge in this fight.
I'm assuming they have a Jace left. Otherwise, that's such an unfortunate draw. Three go for the throats left, and I hit a cut down. 0 cut down left now. Double tail swipe. The Celestis would have been so good on my side as well. I think I would have potentially been able to rally enough potential spells to get back in this at some point, but that's like way too late. I do wish I had some underdogs though. Oh, that's a little bit late, but maybe not too late. Guess we'll find out. Guess we'll find out. If that can attack through potentially, that would be quite good. Alright. Well, I don't know. They have 8 cards left. Oh, they did not loot, so they do not have another Jace. So now I have to like find my Go for the Throats and stall. Oh, that's dying. Well, fortunate. Still have 1 sleeper left. I can cycle.
Another for my collection.
Dude, that's not too bad. Oh, it kicks twice. Oh no, that's terrible. That is just lethal. Okay, I should have conceded earlier, but I don't know. Some of you have asked me to play games out, and there you have it. I've played the game out successfully, and you know, pretty much wasted all this time. But at least there's some entertainment to be had, maybe. And it gave me a better. I don't even know if underdog would have changed much. Maybe. I'm gonna add underdog though. It's better than shadow in that matchup. And I think shadow is less relevant overall, anyways. So let's go back another underdog. If not, just straight up playing 3 underdogs is probably correct. Just to respect control even more. I think this deck is naturally okay against creature decks. Alright. Play some more. Oh man. Okay, this is the first showcase of Glissa being bad, which is something I might go back down to 2. I've not had any green problems until now, so maybe this is a very outlier situation. We'll see. This could also just be another Trespasser. Wait, this deck could play Bankbuster. I didn't even think about that. This deck can play Bankbuster. It can play it very well as well. Like, very efficiently. That's probably something that should be in the list. Instead of Glissa, period, maybe. Or Trespasser to Bankbuster. Yeah. I completely forgot about Bankbuster since it wasn't in the deck to begin with. I just didn't even think about it. It makes sense. This situation with no green is rough. Yeah, Bankbuster being colorless makes it easier on the mana as well. Oh, this is tough. This is a tough one. But yeah, we'll take the block. It is what it is. It's still double pump sleeper next turn for Death Touch. Still no green. Which is the first time I'm seeing no green, and it is pretty frustrating, I won't lie. Will not lie about that. 12 green. Maybe there's something to be said with the gain health land. But if I'm cutting Glissa, which I think I will be for Bankbuster, then it's probably okay. I do think having 4 cut down is also better than... Yeah, I do think 4 cut down is actually better than Go for the Throat, just because of Sleeper. Sleeper itself being very efficient on mana. Having the ability to weave in a 1 mana spell would most likely save the game in multiple positions, I think. Yeah, this is pretty rough. It's a problem. I need to find green very soon. They pretty much have like perfect curve outs for their... Well, not perfect. They missed a 2-drop. Still hit a creature. There's the green. So now Obliterator can win the game. Interesting. Otherwise, I'm just dying. Like, they have way too much damage. With the Steel Seraph. That I will hopefully get to kill next turn. But if I can't, then we lose. Tail Swipe. I need any removal to go along with it. Or Obliterator, straight up. That would be ideal. Invoke would be okay as well, I guess. That's fine. 1 mana? Mono, okay. Tough one. Not the best deck list I've ever seen, but it works. Any aggro deck is going to work against my relatively weak opening hand. Flying, yeah. Flying buffs Giada. Interesting. Yeah. That's worst case scenario. Drawing another land. If only I had Bankbuster, I would actually be kind of stable here. I would be able to draw consistently, gain some life, compensate. Oh, they top decked anyways. Okay, I can draw out of this actually. Kinda. I have a lot of removal. There's the other green source I needed. One turn too late. If I was gonna draw land, I wish it would have been the Deathclap Blade, but it is what it is. This game is completely over. And most definitely with that swamp draw. Okay. Let's make some more changes as we move towards Bankbuster instead of Glissa probably, and adding another Trespasser as the 3-drop, or Flesh Gorger this time. Oh, we'll probably just end up playing more copies of that. This gotta go. Bankbuster is very good. Trespasser, full set of Trespassers. Bankbuster instead of Underdog. I think it's better. In most cases than Underdog. So not necessarily exactly on turn 2. I'll play 2. I don't want to draw too many Bankbusters either. Maybe it is 3 though. Again, I need like, if I'm gonna truly tune the deck, I need to play it like over way longer than the span of one hour, etc. Right? Like, however long I'm gonna play this deck today. Probably 2 more games if they're not very long. Okay, we've got something going here. Don't need green on 2, do I? No, I might. Bushwhack. Draw me a land. Bushwhack might be better than Tail Swipe, I'm not sure. It's a good draw. Kinda. Trespasser's gonna be fantastic in this matchup, or whatever this matchup may be. Yeah, that's okay, that's a bad sign. Okay, that's pretty good, but I have Trespasser at least, which is probably the best case scenario in this position. I take that before they trespass. Ouch. That is unfortunate, but they still have to lose. They still have to 2 for 1 their themselves, and yeah, I have a cut down, but not the best situation. Okay, they're not going for it. That's pretty good. Double cut down is good here. But I'd still want the land, kinda. Okay, I completely misclicked that. Don't mind me, just yeah, don't mind me, just playing the game, you know. Playing the game. It's unfortunate I didn't order it correctly as well. Maybe I should have used the Tail Swipe. I was trying to go for Tail Swipe plus Obliterator, but I didn't expect them to have another Blood Tithe. Yeah, who knows? Maybe this Trespasser goes the distance. Probably won't though. But if it does... Uh-oh. Oh, they have to pay? Okay, cool. I'm gonna open up with Obliterator in case it dies. That way I have more direct damage instead of this card. Like if they have to remove this, I'd rather they remove that than this, probably. Also, it's a better attacker than Shield Red, so playing the better attacker first and the direct damage later is usually something you want to follow in Magic. Usually a good rule to go by. I should have attacked that too. No. Actually, no. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like this trade is very valuable. Okay. All right, Shield Red, your turn. Okay, we did it. Okay, so the cut downs worked out. The Trespasser worked out beautifully. I misclicked. I potentially should have thought about using the fight spell in case they had another copy of Harvester. Yeah, that was correct. So I made a few misplays. I'm kind of like losing focus, but I will definitely play one more. That was a quick one. I'm pretty happy with the idea of the list now. Like, I feel like we're really getting to a point where every card is like really good no matter the position. 2 invokes is probably the upper limit for a 24 land deck anyways. I do think that's probably correct. No Glissa is a lot easier on the mana. It relies less on you getting lucky and finding green. The cut downs have beautiful synergy with the Sleeper and the Bankbuster, since it's a cheap way to potentially find your mana. Playing Sleeper on 1 into cut down is not really something I want to do. So I think I'm going to wait. I want them to use their cut down on a later turn where their mana is less available. Oh, there's the Bankbuster. Perfect. Not a creature. Does not die to removal. There we go. It's already paying off. It's already paying off. Beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And it's gonna help me push ahead by just drawing cards every turn, removing their spells. Like, this is such a beautiful spot to be in. I'm so happy about this Bankbuster. It might have to be a 3-up. I don't know. I'm still debating whether the Underdog should be a 3-up, because it is a better creature on turn 2 against aggro deck, because you will get the block immediately, instead of just not having a blocker until like turn 3 or something. Also, this is a fantastic defensive blocker in the situation where, you know, maybe you play your 4-drop like an Obliterator and they remove it, then you can crew the Bankbuster in response, and, you know, you'll have that blocker in that situation, and I think that's really fantastic. Honestly, that is beautiful. That is... Everything I've added has been working out this game. This game is where I truly see... Like, maybe this could have been, like, something else, right? This could have been the 4th cut down. Like, you never know, right? Okay, they're gonna untap. That's fine. I don't really care. I don't really care that much. They want to activate that. That's okay. They're gonna have to hold that up the rest of the game if they really care, yeah. He gets flipped. Take action. Get rid of this. Draw an invoke. Go for the invoke. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Surprising, but I still... This is perfect then. I still get access to the 3 cards from that. Well, discarding the land might have been a mistake. We'll see. Are they pumping that now? No, they're not. I don't really feel like doing that again, so... I'm probably going to flip and then put the Underdog in the graveyard. So get the Celestis draw. Hold up double cut down. There. There goes one. There goes your Sleeper. No, they can bargain again if they want, but I don't really care. I do not really care about that, so let's say that. Bankbuster. Gonna be doing good things here. Alright, goodbye to Underdog. Basically free card. Okay, Bankbuster time, and I flip again. There's Obliterator, which is a terrible card in this matchup. And they lose the game. Celestis, thumbs up. Bankbuster, thumbs up. Good stuff. And having 2 invokes is still more than enough, I think, just to have that powerful 5 cost card. But you don't want too many, because obviously if they stack up in your hand and you don't find the mana, you're gonna lose the game. But I really like it, yeah. I think this deck is reaching a position where I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm actually enjoying this deck. I feel like it's got a lot of room for improvement, even from this point on. Like, I'm actually kind of excited to see. I might pick this back up eventually, yeah, when I feel like playing some more best of one, because this has some room to expand into something a little bit better, from this list. But the question is, will it ever be good enough to be a mainstay in the meta? That's something I don't really know. So far today, my first impressions are that it might have a spot. It might have a spot. But control decks are really tough, so you have to solve that. I do think white decks can be a bit of a problem, like the general mono white, like enchantment based deck, I think is a little bit of a problem because they have good exile for this. Like, I don't know, we'll see. I'm definitely down to test this in the future. Hope you enjoyed the vid, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoy my content and would like to see me keep making it, consider joining my Patreon, where you will gain access to a bunch of bonus videos, other types of content, and of course, depending on the tier, other services as well. Thank you so much to all the lovely patrons that have already subscribed. I appreciate you all very much. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.